The Galactic War Council was a place of power, where the universe's most dangerous and influential species gathered to discuss matters of conquest, survival, and domination. It was a room filled with towering figures, predatory, cold, and relentless. Among them sat Commander Torak of the Korash, a brutal, reptilian species known for their fierce expansionist drive. Torak had seen the rise and fall of entire civilizations across the stars, but there was one anomaly that had always puzzled him: Earth. The so-called Defenseless planet at the edge of the galaxy had somehow managed to avoid the fate of other weak species who had been crushed under the boot of galactic empires. Earth. Torak growled, his reptilian eyes narrowing as he stared at the holographic map projected above the war table. It's an enigma. No matter how many times we've attempted to infiltrate or attack, something goes wrong. To his left, Jean of the Zelrith, an insectoid warlord with compound eyes and a mandible that clicked with every word, nodded in agreement. Every attempt ends in failure. Our ships malfunction when they approach. Weapon systems are rendered useless. The planet, it fights back. But there is no known force capable of that kind of resistance. No weapons, no advanced tech. Joan's voice trembled slightly with frustration. Torak growled again, his massive claws digging into the tabletop. The Korash have crushed hundreds of worlds far more advanced than this primitive speck. Earth should be no different. We have the might, the technology, the numbers, yet we're always forced to retreat. Across the table, a shadowy figure shifted, a member of the Decor species, their black skin absorbing the light around them, a race of brutal mercenaries known for their cunning and ruthlessness. Perhaps it's not the planet that resists, but something of it. A hidden force, Dekoth, the Decor commander, suggested, his voice low but tinged with certainty. Something we cannot see, something older than any of us. Perhaps it's time to stop blaming our technology and start questioning the very nature of this Earth. Torak's eyes locked onto Dekoth's, his thoughts swirling. A hidden force. He had considered the possibility before but discarded it. How could such a primitive planet possess such a powerful defense? The Korash had battled the most advanced civilizations, and yet Earth had somehow remained untouched, its defenses activating at just the right moment to foil any aggression. "We will find this force," Torak finally said, his voice a rumble of determination. "It's time we end this mystery once and for all. Send scouts, send spies, send everything we have. We will not leave until we know what Earth is hiding." The War Council was silent for a long moment before, one by one, the other members nodded, agreeing with Torak's command. If there was something on Earth they didn't understand, they would unravel it. The hunt for the truth had just begun. The streets of San Francisco buzzed with the usual blend of traffic, tourists, and locals. But for Adam Spencer, a former U.S. Marine turned private investigator, the day was anything but ordinary. He had been hired to investigate a strange series of electromagnetic pulses that had been disrupting power grids on the Pacific coast. The pulses weren't enough to cause widespread damage, but the timing was too precise to be a coincidence. Something was off. Adam's phone buzzed in his pocket, pulling him from his thoughts. It was a text from Maya Williams, an astrophysicist from MIT who had been consulting with him on the case. "I found something unusual at the research facility. You need to see this." Adam's brow furrowed. He'd heard of Maya's work before, and while he respected her scientific expertise, he didn't usually get involved in research that was so theoretical. But when she asked for his help, he knew better than to ignore it. He made his way to the facility, an old nondescript building tucked away on the outskirts of town. Maya was waiting for him at the entrance, her face lit by the soft glow of a nearby street lamp. She was holding a tablet, her eyes wide with excitement. "Adam, you won't believe this," she said, stepping forward. "It's not just the pulses. It's the interference. Whatever is causing them is alive. It's not just some rogue signal or malfunctioning equipment. It's something much more complex." Adam raised an eyebrow. "Alive? What are you talking about?" Maya led him inside the facility, down a winding corridor to a large, dimly lit lab. There, on a steel table, lay a strange metallic object, its surface smooth and reflective, but with a faint hum that seemed to resonate with the air around it. "I found this buried beneath the facility," Maya explained. "It's clearly not from Earth, but it's not like any alien technology we've ever encountered. I think it might be a sort of key or a signal generator." Adam walked closer, studying the object. There was a strange energy radiating from it, and his instincts told him that whatever this was, it wasn't just some random piece of junk. It was important. He had dealt with alien tech in his time as a Marine, but this was something different. Before he could ask more questions, the door slammed open. Nathan Price, a conspiracy theorist and blogger who had been following the strange phenomenon from the sidelines, stood in the doorway, his wide grin betraying the excitement in his eyes. "I knew it," Nathan said, practically bouncing on his heels. "I knew there was something more going on. You found it, haven't you? The thing they're hiding." Adam glanced at Maya, who nodded. "We think this object is connected to the disturbances. We need to figure out what it is and why it's here." Nathan stepped closer to the object, a glint of recognition flashing in his eyes. "I've been reading reports from all over the world. Power grids failing, strange atmospheric readings, weird magnetic anomalies. And now this. You guys are looking at something big. I think we're finally about to uncover the truth about Earth." As the three of them gathered around the artifact, the air seemed to thrum with a quiet intensity. They were on the edge of something. Adam could feel it. Something much bigger than they could have imagined was about to unfold, and they were in the center of it all. The first steps toward uncovering Earth's greatest secret had just begun. The lab was silent, except for the soft hum of the artifact, which seemed to grow louder the closer Adam, Maya, and Nathan got to it. The object lay on the steel table like an enigma, smooth, metallic, and almost too perfect in its design. Maya, despite her usual scientific composure, couldn't hide her excitement. Her fingers hovered above the surface, as if she was afraid to touch it. "Do you think it's a weapon?" Adam asked, his eyes scanning the artifact's sleek contours. Maya shook her head. "No, it's not a weapon. Not in the way you'd think. But there's something about it that feels purposeful. Like it's been waiting." "Waiting for what?" Nathan asked, his voice a little too eager. Maya turned to him, her brow furrowed. "I don't know yet, but I'm starting to think this thing isn't just an artifact. It's alive in some sense, or at least it's connected to something else. It's sending out some kind of signal, but I can't make sense of it. The interference, it's not random. It's like it's trying to communicate." Adam leaned closer, studying the object, his instincts telling him it was far more than an alien relic. There was an undeniable pulse emanating from it, like a heartbeat, just faint enough to be dismissed as an electrical glitch if one wasn't paying attention. "Can we track the signal?" Nathan asked, pulling out his own device, a slightly battered laptop. "We might be able to trace it, figure out where it's coming from." Maya hesitated but then nodded. I think that's our best bet. If we can isolate the frequency, maybe we can find out who or what is sending it. As Maya connected her tablet to the artifact, the hum shifted. Adam felt it in his bones, an unsettling vibration, like the object was alive and aware of them. The laptop screen flickered, displaying a series of incomprehensible symbols, flashing faster than Adam could follow. He instinctively stepped back, but Maya, undeterred, continued to adjust the settings. Then, without warning, the screen went black. "Great," Nathan muttered. "Now what?" Before anyone could respond, the hum from the artifact deepened, almost as if it were resonating with something beneath the Earth's surface. Maya swiped through her interface, trying to bring the system back online, but the tablet began to glitch. The lights overhead flickered, and an intense pressure seemed to build in the room. "Something's wrong," Maya said, her voice tight with urgency. "The signal's changing. It's accelerating. I think it's responding to us." Suddenly, the room's temperature dropped, and the artifact began to glow, faintly at first, then brighter, more intense. Adam's heart rate quickened, and his instincts screamed at him to get away, but he couldn't look away from the object. Then, as if acknowledging their presence, the artifact pulsed one final time, and a message appeared on the tablet in sharp, clear text. "You are not the first to seek the truth about Earth's protection. You will soon learn why no one dares attack." The room fell deathly still. Adam exchanged a glance with Maya and Nathan, his throat tight with the realization of what they had just discovered. They weren't the only ones searching for the truth. And something had just warned them that they were about to find it, whether they were ready or not. The Korish fleet moved silently through the void of space, its ships gliding toward Earth with deadly precision. Commander Torak stood at the helm of the flagship, his large, reptilian eyes fixed on the distant blue orb in the display. The fleet was composed of dozens of ships, from small scouts to massive dreadnoughts, each one bristling with weaponry. This time, there would be no failures. This time, they would not be forced to retreat. "We'll take this world in one swift strike," Torak said, his voice as cold and calculating as ever. "No more delays, no more mistakes." His second-in-command, a sleek and vicious Korish named Vrax, nodded. "The humans are weak, their cities are unprotected. We've dealt with far greater threats. The attack will be quick, and their systems will be crippled before they even know what hit them." Torak's lips twisted into a grin. "Cripple them, yes, but I want to know why they're so damn difficult to subdue. Let's see what secrets Earth hides." With a wave of his clawed hand, the orders were given. The fleet's ships descended toward Earth, entering the atmosphere in perfect formation, their weapons primed. As the ships broke through the clouds, they were met with a sky that seemed eerily calm. There were no signs of defense, no visible weapons, no shields. The Korish had anticipated this. They had planned for it. The first salvo of energy blasts rained down, striking major cities across the globe: Los Angeles, New York, Tokyo. The world's advanced surveillance systems had been rendered useless by the Korish's encryption, and the humans were caught off guard. Buildings crumbled, fires erupted, and the streets filled with chaos. But then, just as Torak had predicted, something strange began to happen. The sky shifted. At first, it was subtle, just a slight ripple in the air. But then the atmosphere itself seemed to come alive. The temperature dropped rapidly, and a series of violent electrical storms exploded across the planet's surface. Bolts of lightning arced from the ground into the sky, creating blinding flashes that turned day into night. In an instant, the Chorus ships found themselves caught in the storms. Their sensors failed, their guidance systems malfunctioned, and their weapons became erratic. What the hell is happening? Vrax hissed as his control panel flickered wildly. Our systems, they're being fried. Before Torak could respond, the ground below seemed to erupt with a sudden violent force. Massive shockwaves sent the Chorus fleet reeling. Some ships veered off course, plummeting toward the ocean, while others collided midair, their wreckage scattering across the skies. "We're being pulled into Earth's gravity," one of the Chorus commanders screamed. It's like the planet itself is reacting to our presence." Torak's mind raced. He had underestimated Earth. This was no mere primitive world. Something was happening here, something he could not explain. As the chaos continued, Earth's defense system kicked into overdrive. The sky itself seemed to shift, turning into a darkened void as electromagnetic pulses began ripping through the Chorus fleet, rendering their weapons useless. Several ships were torn apart by unseen forces, crashing into the ocean below. Torak clenched his fists. They were retreating. Once again, Earth was defending itself, but this time he had no idea how. "Pull back," Torak growled, his voice a mixture of fury and awe. "We will regroup and try again. But this time, we must understand what we are dealing with. Earth is not as weak as we believed." As the remnants of the fleet scattered into the stars, Torak's mind was consumed with one thought. What is it that Earth is hiding? On the surface, Adam Spencer, Maya Williams, and Nathan Price were oblivious to the devastation unfolding in the skies above. But somewhere, deep in the heart of Earth's defenses, something ancient was stirring. It had sent its warning. Now it was only a matter of time before the truth was revealed. The aftermath of the failed Chorus assault was everywhere, though the world's leaders had quickly scrambled to downplay the destruction. Governments from across the globe tried to spin the events, labeling the strange phenomenon as unexplained atmospheric anomalies or a rogue group of alien invaders. But Adam Spencer, Maya Williams, and Nathan Price knew the truth. The defense had come from somewhere, and it wasn't just luck. Days after the attack, the trio met again, this time in a hidden facility deep in the Nevada desert, far from the media frenzy and public panic. Adam had contacted a few of his former Marine connections, and they had arranged for safe passage to an underground military research lab that no civilian was supposed to know about. Maya's tablet, still cracked from the earlier interference, was now connected to a central data hub, and she was scanning the artifact they had uncovered. "What we're dealing with here is much bigger than just a defense system," Maya said quietly, tapping on the tablet's interface. This artifact, isn't just a key. It's part of something older, something far older than humanity itself. Adam looked over her shoulder at the display, trying to make sense of the data pouring in. "What do you mean? Older than humanity? How far back are we talking?" Maya didn't answer immediately, her focus deep in the data. "I've been looking into Earth's geological history. The planet has been the site of extraordinary events, electromagnetic pulses, sudden geomagnetic reversals, catastrophic geological shifts. But these aren't natural disasters. They're controlled." Nathan leaned in, his voice tinged with the excitement of discovery. "So Earth's been under someone's control all this time." Maya finally met their eyes, her expression serious. "Not just someone. Earth itself has been the control mechanism." Adam's confusion mirrored Nathan's. "Earth itself? What are you talking about?" "This artifact," Maya continued, "is just the surface. It's a piece of an ancient planetary-scale defense network, one that was designed to keep the planet safe, not just from threats on the ground, but from the stars themselves. Nathan let out a low whistle. "Wait, you're saying the planet knew the Chorus were coming?" And it just stopped them. Maya nodded, then gestured to a series of ancient-looking data files that had finally come through. They weren't from any government agency, nor did they resemble any known extraterrestrial technology. These files were different, primitive in some ways. But the message they carried was clear. Thousands of years ago, a civilization far more advanced than anything we can comprehend arrived on Earth. They built this system, what we're calling the sentient Earth network. They embedded it deep in the planet's core, linking it with Earth's atmosphere, tectonic plates, and magnetosphere. It's not just a defense mechanism, it's a living intelligence. Earth itself has been watching, protecting, reacting to cosmic threats for eons. Adam stepped back, feeling the weight of her words sink in. "You're saying Earth's been alive this whole time. And not just that, aware of everything that's been happening." "Yes," Maya said quietly, "and it's been biding its time, waiting. It only reacts when it needs to. But the Chorus, they weren't supposed to be a threat. They're just the first ones to provoke it in a long time." Nathan's voice trembled with awe. So Earth wasn't just hiding from us, it was watching us. "That's exactly it," Maya confirmed. "And I think it's telling us that the galaxy has been far too dangerous for too long. Earth is a safeguard. A sentient protector designed to maintain balance, not just for humanity, but for the universe itself." A heavy silence filled the room as the three of them processed the revelation. This wasn't just a fight for Earth's survival. This was a fight for something much bigger. The Chorus were the first to learn that the defenseless planet had been watching and waiting for the right moment to act. But the question now was, who else had been watching? And who would come next? As the data continued to pour in, one thing was clear: the battle for Earth had just begun. And this time, humanity was no longer the underdog. Back in the stars, Commander Torak's fury boiled over as he surveyed the wreckage of the Chorus fleet. What should have been a simple conquest had turned into an unmitigated disaster. Their advanced technology had been rendered useless by forces they couldn't even comprehend. Ships had malfunctioned, weapons systems had failed, and most shockingly of all, their carefully calculated attack had been repelled by something as mundane as the planet's own atmosphere. Torak paced aboard the flagship, his massive form agitated, his claws clicking against the metal floor. The room was filled with his most trusted commanders, but none of them could offer an explanation. Vrax, the second in command, stood at attention, her scales flickering under the harsh light of the command center. "Commander, we underestimated Earth," Vrax said, her voice tight with frustration. "But this was not an act of nature. It was as if the planet itself fought back against us." Torak's gaze burned through her, but he said nothing. His mind raced, trying to piece together the fragments of what had happened. The artifact they had encountered, the unexplained electromagnetic interference, the storms, all of it pointed to one undeniable truth. Earth was not just a primitive backwater. It was something much more complex, an enigma that had to be unraveled. "We cannot afford another failure," Torak growled, his voice laced with venom. "Prepare the fleet. We are going to find the source of this anomaly and destroy it before it can destroy us." Vrax's eyes narrowed. "You believe there is a weapon on Earth capable of stopping us?" "No," Torak replied, his voice low and dangerous. "I believe there is something on Earth that is far more dangerous than any weapon. something that we cannot see, but has been manipulating everything from the shadows. We need to find it, understand it, and eliminate it. With a sharp command, Torak ordered the fleet to regroup and return to Earth, this time more cautiously. They would not make the same mistakes. They would infiltrate the planet, hunt down whatever force was behind the defense, and neutralize it once and for all. Meanwhile, on Earth, Adam, Maya, and Nathan were beginning to understand the full scope of what they had uncovered. The messages for the artifact had been more than just warnings, they were instructions. The planet's defense system wasn't just reactive, it was predictive. It had been watching the stars for millennia, anticipating the rise of threats like the Korash, and had already formulated a plan to deal with them. But the question was, who had designed this system? And why had it been left hidden beneath the surface for so long? Maya was now piecing together ancient texts and alien artifacts, trying to decipher the full history of Earth's guardians. "We're not dealing with a weapon," she said quietly, almost to herself. "We're dealing with something much older. A sentinel civilization, one that lived alongside humanity's ancestors, perhaps even before. They built this system to protect Earth. But why? And who were they protecting it from?" Nathan rubbed his eyes, exhausted but exhilarated. "We've been focusing on the wrong thing. We're not just dealing with some ancient technology. We're dealing with a sentient defense mechanism, a planetary-scale intelligence that's been keeping Earth safe, not from invaders, but from an even greater danger." As the truth settled in, a new realization hit Adam. They weren't just up against a powerful alien species. They were up against a system far older, far more complex, and far more dangerous than anything they could imagine. Earth had been hiding its secrets for millennia, and now it was ready to reveal them. But Torak and his fleet were coming again, and this time they were not going to be so easily deterred. The clock was ticking, and the fight for Earth's future was about to escalate in ways no one could predict. The Korash fleet had regrouped in the far reaches of the solar system, far beyond the detection range of Earth's satellites. But even at that distance, Torak could feel the tension building. His forces had suffered, yes, but he had learned from the failure. The enemy, Earth itself, had proven to be far more resilient than he'd anticipated. It wasn't just the planet that was the problem. It was the intelligence embedded within it. He could no longer rely on brute force alone. This time he would need to dig deeper, to strike at the heart of whatever force was pulling the strings from below the surface. "We're not dealing with a simple planetary defense system," Torak muttered, his eyes locked on the holographic map of Earth. "This is an intelligence, a mind, and it's been waiting for us." Vrak stood by his side, watching the display of the planet's defense mechanisms, earthquakes, violent storms, sudden magnetic pulses, all clearly reactions to the Korash fleet's previous attack. "So, it's not just a weapon, it's a conscious entity," Vrak said, her voice soft, but full of awe. "If we're going to conquer Earth, we need to eliminate this sentience." Torak's lips curled into a sneer. "And we will. I've been studying Earth's patterns. This sentience is embedded in its core, not in its surface. We'll attack from below. We strike at the heart." He turned to the fleet's engineers. "Deploy the gravity disruptors. We will destabilize the planet's magnetic field. Once we break its core systems, the rest will fall apart." The Korash fleet moved again, but this time their approach was slow, deliberate. Torak knew they couldn't afford another rash attack. The next strike had to be surgical. Back on Earth, Adam, Maya, and Nathan were at a breaking point. They had just decoded the last piece of the message from the artifact, a map that seemed to show a location deep beneath the Earth's surface. But it wasn't just any location, it was the core, the heart of the planetary defense system. The artifact had been a signal, a beacon designed to lead them there. But there was one problem. They were running out of time. Maya scanned the data, her brow furrowed in frustration. We've got to move fast. If the Chorus attack again, we need to know where they're going and how to stop them. Adam looked over the map on the screen, tracing the lines that led deep into the Earth's crust. The Chorus are going to hit the core, he said, his voice low and steady. They'll try to destroy whatever's down there, whatever protects the Earth. Nathan swallowed hard. And we need to get there first. We need to understand it, control it, if we can. Maya nodded, but that means we're not just fighting the Chorus anymore. We're fighting Earth itself. We're on the clock, and if we can't figure out how to control this system, we might not just lose Earth, we might lose everything. The three of them, united by the discovery and the danger, had no choice but to take the risk. They would journey into the heart of the Earth's defense system, following the artifact's instructions, and try to stop the Chorus from reaching the core. If they failed, Earth's ancient protector would make sure no one, human or alien, would ever threaten the planet again. But as the Chorus prepared their final assault, they weren't the only ones watching. Something far older than them, far older than humanity, was also preparing for its own reckoning. The storm had been unleashed. The battle for Earth's survival was about to reach its violent conclusion. The deep rumble of seismic activity shook the ground as Adam, Maya, and Nathan descended into the bowls of the Earth. Their descent was in haste, and the air around them grew thick with tension as they moved through tunnels that had remained hidden for millennia. The map they'd decoded from the artifact led them here, deep beneath the surface, where Earth's ancient defense system lay dormant until now. We're getting close, Maya said, her voice tight. The readings are off the charts. We're almost at the heart of the system. Adam scanned the tunnels, the walls glistening with an eerie metallic sheen that seemed to hum with an unnatural energy. If the Chorus are right, this is where Earth's intelligence is concentrated. But if we don't figure out how to control it, they're going to destroy everything. Nathan, who had been nervously checking his equipment, looked up. And if we don't stop them, Earth's going to destroy them first. What do we even do when we get there? We need to understand it. Maya said, her voice full of urgency. If we can't control it, we need to make sure it doesn't activate. This isn't just a weapon, it's the planet itself. We've got to be careful. As they neared their destination, the tunnels opened into a vast underground chamber. The air shimmered with an otherworldly energy, and in the center of the room, a massive, glowing structure pulsed with light. It resembled an enormous crystalline core, its surface swirling with symbols and intricate patterns that seemed to move on their own. This was it, the heart of Earth's defense system, the sentient Earth network. Maya stepped forward cautiously. This is the source. The intelligence. It's not just a defense mechanism. It's a consciousness, and it's been watching us for eons. Adam felt a chill run down his spine. Who created it? Why? I think, Maya said, her eyes scanning the glowing structure, it was designed by an ancient race, one far older than humanity. They built Earth's defense system to protect the planet from a threat that has been coming for millennia, something far worse than the Chorus. Nathan's eyes widened. You mean, this is bigger than just us, than just Earth? Maya nodded. Yes, I think this defense system was designed for a war that humanity doesn't even know is coming. The Chorus were only the beginning. Suddenly, a low hum vibrated through the chamber, and the crystalline structure flickered. The room grew colder, and Adam felt a deep, primal sense of urgency. The Korish fleet wasn't far behind. Torak had found the planet's weakness, and he was preparing for his final assault. But as Adam stepped closer to the core, something strange happened. The symbols on the crystal seemed to respond to him, shifting, pulsing, as though they recognized his presence. "This is it," Maya said, her voice steady but filled with awe. "The system is awakening. We need to interface with it. Now." Nathan moved forward to help her, his fingers dancing over the glowing interface. But as they worked, the ground shook again, and this time, it wasn't just a tremor. It was a warning. Outside, the Korish fleet began to deploy its final weapon, the gravity disruptors, targeting Earth's core. "We have minutes," Maya said urgently. "We need to sync with the system now." Just as she finished speaking, the chamber lit up in a blinding flash, and the entire room seemed to come alive, the symbols spiraling faster and faster. The energy in the air thickened, and then, with a sound like the earth itself cracking open, the core spoke, not with words, but with a burst of pure raw thought. "I have been waiting, and now you will understand the price of protection." The chamber erupted with blinding light, and in that instant, Adam knew the truth. The Korish were not Earth's true enemies. What had been waiting, what had been watching, was far more ancient, far more terrifying. The storm had never been Earth's final defense. It had only just begun. The battle for Earth, and for the galaxy itself, was no longer a question of survival. It was a race against the rise of something far more powerful than any alien threat could ever be.